First up, payday or payroll loans. It's my opinion that payday loans are the most predatory of the lot. Hi, I'm Tanja, and today I'm going to speak about the 3 worst types of debt for Caribbean people. Now, why do I say these are the 3 worst types of debt for Caribbean people? Number 1, they're predatory in nature. Number 2, the interest rates are extremely high. And number 3, they're revolving, meaning that once an individual starts to take out these types of loans, it's very hard for them to live their financial life without them. First up, payday or payroll loans. It's my opinion that payday loans are the most predatory of the lot. And I say that because they're geared towards persons with a lower income. Payday loans were originally created to help bridge the gap in case of an emergency. So if persons had an emergency and they didn't have an emergency fund set aside, they would take out a payday loan with the objective that they would pay once they've been paid in the next period, whether that was weekly or whether that was monthly. It was usually small amounts of money that would help them to fix the current need. Let's say, for example, they needed to fix a tire on their car, and they would have been able to easily pay that back with their next paycheck. What has happened now is that payday loans have become just like any other loan. They are now to the region of up to $20,000 or even more that you can get through an institution that, specializes in payday loans. The thing is, the interest rates on these loans are very, very high. And one of the reasons why the interest rate is very high is that these type of institutions and these type of loans fall into what is known as the Mazzani type of financing. And this is really financing for those persons who've either maxed out with traditional loan agencies. So let's say, for example, a person have a mortgage, they have a car, they have other expenses, and the traditional loan agencies, their bank or their credit union will no longer supply them with any loans. They then turn to payday type institutions. Currently, these types of loans are being offered at interest rates of between 12.5% and 21% in the Caribbean. The other issue with these types of loans currently, these types of loans were meant to be unsecured, and the companies were able to secure a higher risk because of that. What you will see happening now is that the institutions are able to secure their repayments through payroll deduction, thereby reducing the risk of default to them, but in some cases, leaving individuals with very little residual income. It's not the institution's job to ensure that persons have not over-leveraged themselves. The onus is on the borrower to ensure that once all their bills have been paid monthly, that they are still able to enjoy some level of life and be able to pay the basics that they need to, whether it's utilities or groceries. However, what you are seeing is that by the time the loans have been repaid monthly, whether there are car loans, mortgages, payday loans, and all these other type of loans, there are individuals out there who do not have enough residual income to be able to do the basics of life. And because these loans are also geared towards persons whose financial knowledge is not necessarily where it should be, then this is the reason why I put these in this particular category. The next category are loans attached to hire purchase. Now, hire purchase was initially for persons who didn't have cash to pay at the time, and it was for mostly household items. So persons would be able to pay weekly as they get paid or monthly, and they would also be able to do so with a decent interest rate, sometimes as little as less than 2%. They were also for persons who could pay in cash but didn't have all the money the same time, and they would be able to pay off the full amount in 3 months and not incur any interest at all. Most of us of a certain age are for persons who they would know either have their parents or grandparents who would have had hire purchase at some point in time in their life. Currently, these companies have become full-fledged financial institutions where they're offering loans as much as $20,000 at extremely high interest rates. My research have shown that some of these interest rates actually go as much as 24%. Again, they're using their higher purchase customer base as the persons that they're pushing these loans to, where these are persons who would fall into the lower economic brackets of the society. These companies also tend to be very aggressive in their marketing, and they will push to their customer base how much money that they can receive unsecured in a quick turnaround time. Meanwhile, the fine print is very hidden in the background. So some of the customers may not even realize that they have transitioned from a hire purchase account with a small interest rate to a loan that is now being offered to them at an interest rate of 24%. The third category would be your specialty loans. These would be your back to school loans, not to be confused with tuition loans, your travel loans, Christmas loans, or even carnival loans. These type of loans are usually offered by the traditional financial institutions. Now, there are two drawbacks to these loans. The first one being is that they're very revolving. What you find will happen is that an individual will take on one of these loans only to find themselves back in the same situation once they have paid that. So whether it's 12 months from now or 15 months from now, they would be back to that same institution for that same type of loan. Because of that, they're not able to really put together a proper plan for their financial future because they're using these loans as a crutch to supplement their income. They're using these loans to be able to either afford things that they normally would not have been able to afford, or to pay for basic things that their income currently don't allow them to be able to do that. Now, the better thing for these individuals would be to find other sources of income, or be to look at a full financial plan which allows them to be able to see the gap between what they're spending or what they wish to spend and what they're currently spending. The second drawback to these loans is that they're usually not for any material items. They're usually not an asset related to this. So once Carnival has ended, once Christmas has ended, once back to school is finished, you're just left with a loan now that you're paying for the next year to 2 years for an activity that you've done a year and a half, 2 years ago. So that holiday that you took in December 2024, you're still paying for it in 2026. Or that pair of shoes that you saw that were on sale that you thought was, oh, well, I do have some unsecured money that I've been able to get with this loan. I can use it to buy these pair of shoes because, hey, they're on sale. But 2 years later, you're still paying the price or the interest attached to those shoes. So were they really on sale? No, they weren't. Debt has become a part of many persons' financial life, and not all debt is bad debt. However, those with high interest rates or those not attached to any assets should be avoided. I want to encourage you to examine the different types of debt that you're currently carrying, and if you are carrying any I've listed here today, create a plan to rid yourself of these types of debt.